So we are in Parshat Shemini, which is a very interesting parsha. First, I'm going to give you a little context. Shemini means eighth, because what happens in this parsha happens on the eighth day. The eighth day of what, you might ask? Well, here's context. We're at Mount Sinai. We waited for Moses to come down. The people miscounted. They thought he wasn't coming back. They did the golden calf. In order to be forgiven from the golden calf, we have this commandment to build the Mishkan. But this Mishkan was like this crazy IKEA situation. They had to put together all sorts of parts, and they had never seen a desert sanctuary tabernacle. How were they supposed to know how to do it? So they're trying and trying and trying for 7 days, trying to put up this structure. And finally, on the 8th day, it happens. Now, the commentaries say that it was the happiest day of the entire existence of the entire universe for God. Why? Because for him, granted, he created the entire world just for us, but all that takes of the infinite, omnipotent God is to do literally like this, right? It says God created the world with a hey, but hey doesn't really make a sound. So they say that all he had to do was exhale and the world was created. So that's actually easy for God to create an entire place where we're welcome in, easy peasy lemon squeezy. But for us to create a place for the infinite in our finite world, not so simple. But when we built this Mishkan, that's exactly what we did. We made a place where we could go to meet God. We made a place for God in this world. So that's all really incredible. In fact, it's so incredible that there's 5 entire parshas that happen on this very day. Okay, so that's all context. Now I want to dive into a little Torah, because even though this was God's happiest day in all of existence, something really tragic happens. The Mishkan is built, the Kohanim are ready for their service. The Kohanim are the children of Aaron, of Aharon, the brother of Moses. And then 2 of his sons, Nadav and Avihu, they go right into the tabernacle. They're so excited to serve God, except they bring a fire that wasn't commanded. And when they go into the Holy of Holies, boom, they're zapped dead. God literally removes the soul from their bodies and their bodies drop. Aaron remains silent, and for the rest of time, it's a big mystery, right? Tons of commentators comment on what really happened there. Why did Nadav and Avihu die? So I want to say like this. We know there was a problem. We don't know exactly what the problem was. There's a few different ideas, but I want to just talk on this idea of what it means when we have a problem in our lives. So we only have a problem in anything when there's something that we prefer on the other side of the problem. So the example that I learned from Chanar Fruman is if you are trying to get from point A to point B, let's say on the highway, or you're driving around a mountain, and there's a big boulder in the way, well, the boulder is a really big problem if you're trying to get to point B. But it's only a problem because you have something you want on the other side. If we were just driving this way on the highway, that boulder wouldn't matter. So a problem is an indication that there's something beautiful that you really want on the other side. And this is really helpful to remember also in relationships. If you're having a fight or you're having discord, the only reason you're having that discord is there's something really beautiful you want on the other side. So here's the interesting thing. We know from the Zohar and from the Arizal, from Shar Gilgulim, and also Rav Trugman brings it often in the modern language, that Nadav and Avihu, their souls don't just disappear. They come back. They re-enter the scene. A few parshas from now, we're going to have a story of Pinchas. And Pinchas was this dude that when he saw completely inappropriate behavior that actually called for killing, he knew he needed to take action and do this killing for holy reasons, but he was scared and he needed zealousness to help him accomplish this. And so the souls of Nadav and Avihu, these sons that died, flew into Pinchas, giving him the zealousness to be able to do what he needed to do. And actually, we also know from the Zohar and the Arizal that Pinchas later reincarnates into Eliyahu. Eliyahu Hanavi, like the guy that's going to come along and tell us the good news that the Messiah is here. So what does this all have to do with the problem? In all of these cases, with Nadav and Avihu, in our lives, with Pinchas and with Eliyahu, he's got tons of problems to face before he could bring what he wants to bring. We see that it's not the end of the story when there's a problem. There's a problem, something might happen, but what we need to do is see past it. See towards that thing that's so beautiful. Nadav and Avihu bringing the fire wasn't right in the end, but what was past them bringing the fire was their ratzon, their will to get close to God, to serve God, their zealousness. Pinchas, there was a problem, there was inappropriate behavior at the tabernacle, but what was beyond that is his desire to serve God in purity and truth. Eliyahu, there's a big problem. In other words, all the problems in the world. But the reason we're still singing about Eliyahu Hanavi till this day, every Havdalah at the end of Passover that we just had, and all the time, is because he is coming to say that the problems of our world are only there. They're only a problem. That boulder is only a problem because there is something so much more beautiful waiting for us on the other side. So I just love how the Parsha frames this concept, and I love bringing this concept to you in honor of the Parsha. And I just invite you to check in with yourself wherever maybe you're dealing with a problem or there's a problem in your life or in your relationships. What is it that's beyond that that's actually so beautiful about the situation? Shabbat Shalom.